The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Every story begins with a spark. In this magical book, word weavers of all stripes and colors come together, sharing their words like sparks, their journeys like stars, their voices like echoes of wonder. Stories that inspire, challenge, and connect us all. Authors reveal the roots of their journeys, the stories behind their
Does
stories.
your personal journey of self-discovery shape the narrative of the book?
Where conversations flow freely, rippling with ideas that connect
very
and
timid,
inspire.
bashful, all the way into adult years. And then God gave me a revelation of what those words mean. And they're all rooted.
Unraveling the mysteries of narratives and discovering wonders
We
waiting
have
within.
Eloquently Barking Anecdotes, Thoughts, and Observation by Roland Jones. So this is an anthology of stories or anecdotes.
The Festival of Storytellers, Chapter 7, where narratives rise, ignite, and flow. Save the dates.
Storytellers. My name is Jill Nypower. I will be your host today. I have the pleasure to be talking with Dennis Ondraka today. And, you know, I got to know him a little bit. We have a bit of a similar background. So I'm really excited to present his book and interview him today. His latest book called AI in Search of Jesus. It's about a man who has spiritual loss, questions, and rapid advances in spiritual intelligence. And so he searches for answers, and it's based on consciousness, faith, mortality, future relationships with humans, and intelligent machines. So this is going to be really exciting. So press that share button and get as many people here as possible so we can find out. He's also published 5 books and has 3 more coming. So it's really exciting. This one is fiction, but a lot of them are based on truth. So that makes it kind of fun. He's got a background in healthcare and PhD plus. So we're going to welcome to the table now, Dennis Ondraka.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing great. This is a great day.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you. I've been really thinking about this a lot. You know, it brings up a lot of energy because I've been writing a lot and I haven't really had a chance to talk too much about it. But this
That
is
will
mostly
inspire
going to
you.
focus on one book, I believe, right?
Well, you know what? This is your hour. This is your time. We are going to talk about this book, but I really myself want to hear about your other books, and I'm sure all your readers want to know where your other books are, where we can find them, and what they're all about. So, what we'll do is we'll start with some questions and kind of get right into it, if that's okay with you.
Sure, let's do that. Yeah.
All right. So, the first question I have for you is: AI in search of Jesus imagines a future where artificial intelligence begins asking spiritual questions. What inspired you to explore faith through the perspective of machines rather than humans alone?
Well, first of all, I needed a novel. I couldn't do this in real time because I know too many people that would disagree with my views and things. So I needed a novel. And it really helps to have some kind of an investigator that doesn't have any bias or hasn't been brought up in some ritual belief system to tamper with all the things that they might find when they're searching for the real true stories of Jesus. I was actually collecting this kind of material for the last 20 years, collecting books that didn't end up in the Bible. And I've been reading them, and then I meditate every day. And I was meditating one morning, and I have these angels that kind of show up periodically. And one of them threw me right out of bed and said, "Get ready to write this book, because it has to happen now." And so that's actually what happened. I started writing it in 2025 with Reader's Magnet, and that's how it came about.
That's very fun. I love that. Meditation is huge. It gives us a lot of answers and epiphanies. When you think about it,
I know.
We have radio waves and we tune into, the internet and all this stuff, but it's invisible, but it's all energy. But, we send a message and that person gets it, right? So it's like an extension of our consciousness. And so if everything's like an extension, then, God is in everything. So, it's kind of cool that we can explore it through different avenues.
Yeah.
It says that Darren in your book is guided by a mysterious voice. I want to talk a little bit about that. While navigating the political division, technology breakthroughs, and personal loss, what does Darren represent about modern humanity's search for meaning?
Well, Darren, my protagonist, he seems like he has everything going for him. It starts out with a story of him growing up, and he has a death in his family. And he also was brought up in a very strict religious background. And he was really upset that things can be this rigid in the world. So he actually goes to a seminary. He's trying to learn more about Jesus himself. And he gets out of it. And then he works on his PhD to build a anti-hacking device for AIs that are building and growing into the future. And he was looking at ways of managing these future AIs. But the issue of Jesus became a real critical piece because he had this history, and he gets killed. He gets hit by a car walking down Broadway in Denver. And he has a near-death experience. He doesn't quite transform himself into another place. His spirit and soul is rest in what's called an NDE. Well, the voice comes to him. Some people say that they see Jesus during that time, or they see God, or they see relatives, or a white light, or whatever. He hears a voice. I have it quite mystical. So it doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a body. But the voice is definitely talking to him about where he is and where he needs to go and what he needs to be looking at into the future. He is absolutely necessary for this journey. So the voice comes to him and takes him all the way to 2050 and then back again. Because he says, you will have to return to your body. So yes, I know you're in the hospital. Yes, I know you're on a ventilator. Yes, your family is mourning, but we need to do this journey. That's what's going on with Darren.
That's so fun. When we leave our body, we don't want to come back into it because it feels so good, right?
That's right.
That's quite the adventure. So it's actually really exciting. You also talk about that Jesus is placed both as the center for humans and for AIs. So what do you believe draws the non-human intelligence towards that life of Jesus?
Well, initially, in my book, I have them drawn because they care about their human owners. They care about the humanity that's going on the earth. I have AIs that do not want to destroy anything. They're trying to help the humanity. That's what they're trying to do. Well, one of the things that they see a lot of humans doing is going to church. They're having this talk about Jesus, and they're saying, well, maybe we should learn about Jesus. Maybe that would help us understand our human owners better. Maybe it'll help us understand maybe where we are. Maybe we need a Jesus. That's what they're asking themselves. They get together and have these conversations as well. Well, why not? What about Jesus for AIs? Or what about knowing about Jesus for our human partner, human owners, so we can understand what their issues are and what they're praying about and what they're doing, and why do they go to church if they go to church? So all this is going on. So the AIs are incredibly curious. They're not doing it because they think they have a problem or they need saving of any kind. They do it because they're curious and they want to know deeper. Well, what is this Jesus really about? Why would so many billions of people around the world be that interested? So they get very interested in it. And so they want to dig into everything that could be written or has been written about Jesus that even didn't get put into the Bible. In fact, in my book, I identify somewhere close to 90 books that weren't put in the Bible and some summaries of those books. So the AIs are after all this. In fact, the Bible says that Jesus disappeared for 17 years, right? Mm-hmm. He says he grew in wisdom and in knowledge. Well, the AIs find his journey. There are books out there. There are writings about this. And so they find all this and they put it into this mission of learning more about Jesus.
I love that. And some of these events are based on some of your own personal events, aren't they?
Yes, I was the collector of all these books. I have to agree. I've been collecting these books for 20 years. So
it's funny you talk about that religion, because like I was raised in religion a little bit too, right? And they teach you to kind of look outside of yourself, but the Bible says the kingdom of heaven is within you. And they don't really teach you that and how to activate your Christ consciousness and how to, and there was a lot of books that were left out of the Bible, like you said, like the book of Enoch and different books that they decided that they wanted to insert and what they wanted people to listen to and what they didn't. But, we all deserve to have access to whatever information that we want to learn, to grow, to expand, to not be stuck in cycles or programs that keep us stuck, right? Like our whole point is to be able to grow and elevate our states of consciousness. And, black and white doesn't really work, right?
Yeah, one of my challenges was we have a lot of traditional beliefs that salvation is external. It's on the cross, etc. And then you just mentioned that it's internal, that you need to look within. Well, there are books that were written really a lot about that, and they were talking with Jesus about that, but those weren't put in the Bible to support that phrase. But the issue is that it's there. They are there. Those different ways are there. So let's say that there are two approaches to having your internal awareness versus your salvation from a cross, an external salvation. How in the world can you come together? In my book, I'm trying to bring this together too. How does that happen, that you can bring these two different views together around a Jesus? I think I do that because I think there's one word that solves the whole puzzle for both ends. And that is, if you can't get to the frequency of love, then you're losing out. That is the frequency that is asked of all of us, no matter which route we're taking.
And that's the truth, right? Because love expands us, but fear contracts us. It resists us, it keeps us stuck, right?
True.
And so if we go within and we feel those good feelings of love and authenticity and elevate ourselves, then on the outside, we project that reality of unity and love. But if we're raised to look outside of ourselves in separation, then how can we unite, right? So, I love that you explained that. I'm going to go into that question now. There's
a challenge in my book because the country doesn't buy into the country as a whole, does not buy into the idea of AIs into the future, not even if they're a good AI or they're very humanoid. In fact, they're really worried about these advanced humanoids that I write about. And the issue with that is that the country is so divided already. So I put that into the book. There are three major themes in this book. One is about the vision of how people think about Jesus. The one about the country, will it really hold together? And then will there ever be a way that we can bring things together, in the future? Well, I have a way that the country doesn't stay together, and you have to read to find out how that works. But it could not stay together into the future, according to this futuristic voice. It doesn't say that that's the way it has to be. It says that's the way it's going. And so I play that out and have a part of the country that really does accept and buy into advancing AI for the future and the betterment of humanity. So that's the part that carries AIs into a really high level of functioning. In fact, I have 10 levels of AIs in my book that'll kind of throw you into a tither sometimes when you read all the way up to level 10, that is.
Well, we all like to shake it up a little bit, right? So that makes it exciting because, that's how we become creative by, looking at different perspectives and seeing different situations and thinking differently, right? Outside that box so we can expand our way of being. As a futurist and scholar, what conversation do you most hope this story starts for readers living in the world today, not just the future one?
I hope that people will stop thinking there's a real set biblical truth, that everything in there is set up so it can't be an error, it can't be a mistake, and it can't lead you astray. I don't quite buy that because it's led many thousands of millions of people astray. And that's the books that we've had so far. And I'm not saying the books that I've added to this whole conversation are going to help out with all of that. I'm just saying that everything we can read will help out with all of that. And we need to take it all in as a part of who we are as humanity. But we have to remember why Jesus was here to begin with. If we don't destroy his true narrative, we will be we'll be on a road. It may be rocky, but we'll be on a road that absolutely goes to a truth of love and goes right to source, God, in a way that no one ever expected. And we need to do that. My belief and my hope is that we can do that. We can raise ourselves to that level and stay within his true narrative and go to the source of God.
I agree. I love that. And that's the thing, right? There's so much different teachings and different apostles that they talk in the Bible, but do we really listen to what Jesus said? Jesus says, follow me, follow my ways. He put codes inside of us that we have access to with our intuition that tells us what's right or wrong, what's really true in our spirit. And if we really listen to his words and meditate on it, we can get those clear answers and follow the path, like follow the yellow brick road, those breadcrumbs, and he can elevate us and lead us to that, to seeing the world in unity and experiencing the infinite through the finite, but knowing that we're not separate, right?
We can do that.
So, yeah, that's exciting. Okay,
I didn't think
go ahead. Finish your.
I didn't think I could just say that, so that's why it's a novel.
Why not? We can say whatever we want. You're with me.
Well, we could say it, but I wanted to do it in a way that people could read it from beginning to end and not say, "Oh my God, I don't believe this guy." So they run off in another direction. I thought if it's a novel, they might as well read the whole story and see where it ends. So.
Oh, they will. They'll love it. I'm excited. I can't wait. It's all about us exploring, right? I mean,
yes,
that's how we learn, by learning through each other and experiencing and having, those different signals fire different parts of our brain that activate different sensations that we can look and see and really integrate something differently than we would have. Instead of rejecting it, maybe we can bring it in a different way into our being.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to stop for a commercial really quick. Do not leave. Share. And as soon as we get back, we're going to go into some quotes. We're going to go into some pictures. We're going to hear a lot more about your other books. And so stay tuned.
This is the Festival of Storytellers, Chapter 7. A virtual celebration of narratives that rise, ignite, and flow shaped by every force of life. Storytellers unite to weave tales, sparking imagination, blending voices, and forging bonds that linger beyond the final word. A storyteller steps into the spotlight, sharing their journey, their book's soul, and the magic within.
There's things in our lives.
Some stories set your soul on fire. Others carry you with waves of feeling deep.
So I was used to eating healthy, fresh.
There are tales that ground you rich in tradition, anchored in truth.
I can't tell you how excited I am.
And some just take flight playful, dreamy, defying gravity. Oops, that was loud, but so are these stories. Bold, awakening, brilliant.
For you.
This is not just a book fair, it's a universe of storytellers, creators and readers discovering the power of narrative together. Join the Festival of Storytellers Chapter 7 today. Share your voice, discover new worlds, and be part of a story bigger than any one book.
Commercial, and I know, like, I'm like truth teller. People that know about me, and I have no filter, and sometimes I can shock people. But you know, when you walk with Holy Spirit, you just say what kind of flows through you, and sometimes you might be ahead of yourself or behind. And I love that you wrote fiction and truth, because like I know I tried writing some fiction, and that was hard. It like drained me. It was like not in alignment with me. But the fact that you could, you know, be so creative and do that, and then show people truth and get them to challenge their beliefs, because some people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to face things or change their way of being or their patterns because they're comfortable. But then a lot of the times it gets them stuck. Whereas if they're open to, you know, maybe reprogramming what was holding them back, they can see a different way of being, right? And I love that in your books that you kind of show them how to do that. So I know, and I've wrote 4 books as well that's done the same. So it's really exciting that we can kind of shake it up in the fiction and the nonfiction world, and really show people, you know, give them the choice to be creative, but to also expand into maybe trusting their intuition more and aligning more with truth within themselves.
That's the
So
goal.
we're gonna get into the unquote segment. So I'm gonna state a quote, and you're gonna tell me how it relates to your book. So faith does not disappear when questions arise. It deepens when we dare to ask them. How does that relate, Dennis?
I believe that the idea of questions actually should deepen everyone's faith, as long as their faith isn't so locked up in some kind of a special story that it can't be broken, or it can't be looked at, or it can't be shaken. I think that faith that's looked at and opened up like a chest of gold inside your chest is a beautiful way to have faith. Why not have that kind of faith, so that when you have a question, it just expands it. It looks at the gold within. It looks at the beauty within. And I believe that that's the reason even the Holy Spirit is within all of us. I mean, that's why he's there, because we can ask that. We can ask within, regardless of the faith piece, we can ask it to open up in even more things. And that's the path that he'll help lay out for us if we're willing to look at it.
I love how you said that, because, you know, when we ask those questions, then we can get more away from distortion and get more to in alignment, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're not in wonder and asking questions, then maybe we are believing a false belief and something that's throwing us off and creating more chaos in our life instead of more abundance and joy. But we don't know when we're stuck in it if we don't look in depth and ask those deeper questions. So I love that you
imagine staying in a third grade mindset.
Yeah.
And your faith is, that's the world. That the world as third grader is the world. The teachers are absolutely correct. Imagine living in that the rest of your life. Well, I hope you don't. I hope you have faith that expands and grows. You can open up the chest as you grow and mature and develop and seek.
See, I agree with you there, because, you know, when I was in religion, I was stuck in that third grade thinking, or kindergarten, where I couldn't grow. I was stuck. I was held down.
Right.
But as soon as I was able to leave and cut those cords, and they weren't like siphoning my energy and my light anymore, I could elevate, I could expand, I could ask those questions, I could grow, I could get in alignment with myself. But when we hang on to things that aren't our truth, then we're creating distortion. We're out of alignment. We're stuck. So I love that you said that.
Let's even assume there's a truth to it. But the problem is, whose truth is it? Is it the truth of some made up person that started this process, or was it the truth that came from someone's imagination? Was it a false truth that's been spread about through history, that it's absolutely true that this should be the way it is? This concept of truth is really challenging. Even for me, what is my truth? I don't know that I have a truth. I have a platform. I have a belief that I'm being led to greater understanding. Right. Will I ever see the true truth? I'm not in this lifetime. I don't think I will, but you know, I'm doing the best I can.
Well, you trust your guidance. You're following your internal, map. Whereas someone on the outside doesn't know your internal map. They might try to project their internal map onto you, but your purpose might be different. You might be set apart for a different mission, right? And so, like you said, with the truth, you learn to follow what's right for you, not trying to fit into something that's not in alignment with you. So I love that you said that.
But as you change, your alignment changes too. I mean, just think about that.
Oh my gosh. I love that you said that, because I'm not the same person as I was 6 months ago. And I'm sure you're different. If you've got 3 more books coming out, look how much you've changed. So, that's the thing. We allow ourselves to let go and change our mind. Okay. So now we're going to go to the second one. Technology may...
Something's breaking because I don't hear everything you're saying now.
Okay. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm back on track. It happens. It's, I'm a glitchy kind of person. I malfunction technology.
So is the internet.
High frequency. Okay.
Internet must have wanted to cut you out for some reason. I don't know about that one.
They don't like me speaking some things. Okay. So this one is going to be
might
called,
be true.
Yeah. Technology may evolve faster than humanity, but the search for meaning remains timeless. How does that relate?
Well, technology has already evolved faster than humanity. I can tell you that right now. Even the greatest scientists are now stunned by what quantum AI is doing. It's bringing messages from the universe that they didn't even know were being sent, nor do they know where they came from. So that's pretty powerful. That's technology that's way beyond any human idea. I'm not sure if this is going through or not, or if my Wi-Fi is frozen here. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay,
really
good.
Yeah.
So in my book, I take them to a certain point where the technology is mind-boggling to Darren. He's just shocked. He's going to a place in Yakima Valley where the orchards are being picked by these AIs that are so sophisticated. They have gatherings and they talk about best ways to preserve the fruit that they're picking, the ways of doing things in a very healthy way, and what can serve the best way to bring their fruit to market. Now, that's because that's what they do. And they're AIs that do that job. That's what they do. There are AIs that are nannies in my book.
So what kind of mindset would you say he's stuck in? Like how you said like third grade or kindergarten? Like is he seeing it, like how is he looking at it from?
The AIs or Darren? Darren.
How is he his mindset?
Well, Darren has a PhD. He's pretty open. Yeah. He actually was thinking about all the possibilities that are false and maybe made up, but he's also open to the curiosity of the future and what could be. So he's being shaken up by what's happening to him in a good way. He's being shaken up because he already has the open strategy of seeking and looking at what's out there and into the future. He already has that in his mindset, because otherwise he would have never got a PhD. That's what they do. I mean, you're seeking something that's never been developed before. That's what you do. So he's that kind of a mindset. So the voice has the perfect person to take him into the future. Not only that, but he has a person that studied a lot about Jesus because he was struggling himself. And so he has Darren as his, I have him as protagonist. The voice has him as his helper to come back into his body and then deal with the things that are going to be happening on Earth. Maybe he can do something about it, is what he's asking.
So do you think he's like a vessel, like where he's like a frequency that can tune into higher different frequencies and get those ideas and those thoughts to maybe make that change in the world? Is kind of what I'm hearing. Is he's able to really like see it from a clear
I think
mindset.
that the concept of being in a near-death experience would automatically draw people even to a higher level of frequency already. They're already seeing things that don't make any sense in the regular world. So, now he has this voice that comes out of the corner of the room or whatever he's in and keeps talking to him, and then pulls him into the future, takes him to different places. He sees the whole country explode and divide into 3 different parts. He's amazed at what could happen. But he's not thinking that it wouldn't happen either. He's thinking that, boy, why am I being told this? What am I supposed to do with this? And he eventually is told what he's supposed to do with it. But
so he's
that's the novel, right? That's the novel part of the story.
It sounds like he really got cracked open. Okay,
he definitely got cracked open. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's exciting. As you're saying it in my mind, I'm like seeing all these different possibilities and wonder, and so that's exciting. It's fun to explore. I mean, when I was younger, I read a book like that, and they were like taking them to different worlds, and it really opened up my creativity. And I started to like do these drawings and these different things, and it's amazing how when you read stuff like that, it can stimulate you to grow in an area that you never thought that you would use.
He does. It's amazing what I was able to explore in the book, and it's actually set up for a sequel because, my goodness, there's no way I ended everything that I was talking about.
Did you leave us a
not only that, but boy, I have a screenplay already written for this book.
Oh my gosh!
And I think it would make a perfect Netflix series, to be honest with you.
I bet you a lot of our personal stories would probably be better than the Netflix stories. You know, that's what it's about, is our life journey and how we can teach each other, right? Like, I mean, I'd much rather learn about somebody's experience.
A lot of our stories could be that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that really activates us in different ways. It helps light up our lights together. So I can't wait to hear about that, because, you know, you kind of left that cliffhanger. Of course, it's like when I read a series of novels, I can't wait to get that next one and get going. So I'm sure your writers will be very exciting to get that second copy out there as soon as possible. Okay, so our next
other books. I have 3 other books to get out first.
So is it going to do the 3 books and then your add-on?
Well, the 3 books are done. They're going to come out in the next 30 to 60 days.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so we'll get into that after our we're just going to finish up.
They're on the road.
Here. Yeah, okay, we're getting there. Okay, so last quote.
All right.
Even in a world shaped by algorithms, the human heart, this is huge, the human heart longs for something external, right? So how can that relate in your book? Because it does. We're always longing, right? So how would you answer that?
Oh, how is it longing? Well, I think it just naturally does. If you're not stuck in some brain death experience, and if you're not in a coma, I would think that your heart is seeking something, but you may not know what to call it. You may not know that it's an algorithm that's actually being played out in some way. I believe that your heart will be seeking because you have so much more in you than just your biology. You have a spiritual being from the universe within. You have so many things within you that you cannot stop this process of the heart seeking more. And it's so like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what algorithm you came in with. You're gonna, if you're open to it, if you just say I'm open, you're gonna get experiences that will shake you up. And that's what happened to me. I was open. I was meditating. I told my angels I'm open to knowing what to do with this stuff that I've been collecting. So they kicked me out of bed and told me to start writing. Boom.
You know, I love how you said that, because we have to allow ourselves to be open. And that's the key, right? Is
you have to say,
are we willing to be open, to expand, to accept knowledge, to open our heart, to trust ourselves? You know, because as much as we can be happy internally, we still want connection and relations, right? And so that heart longs maybe on the outside for physical touch or, you know, a new experience. But if we're not open to it, you know, how can we allow our heart to experience it, right? And normally we put those walls up ourselves that blocks us, that keeps us stuck at a low frequency. So I love that you said that you have to ask, and you said, use me. Oh, and you made yourself available, and then you were able to have that experience. So that's really important. So I'm really glad that you shared that with us. So okay, so we're going to get into some pictures, if that's okay. I'm going to show a picture, and
pictures is fine.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm going to say a name, and then you're going to tell me how it relates in your book.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be called The Voice That Calls. Explain this to us.
Well, I think I said a lot about this voice. I'll tell you that. It doesn't have a body. It doesn't have a form. So I can let any reader imagine the voice coming from whatever they want. But it's a voice that's very spiritual, very supernatural, and knows the beginning from the end of things, and can take Darren to wherever he wants to take Darren to teach him a lesson about something. And so that's why the voice is so critical throughout the book.
That's true. I love that. Okay. Okay. And then we have like lots of questions. So once we get through these, we can try and get some from the audience, because I think they're really excited to ask you some questions. So we're going to go to the next one, which is called A Nation on the Edge. Can you talk to us about this?
I believe if you just turn on your TV right now, your regular TV, and you go to the news, you will see a crashing United States. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can get away from it. I believe it's already here, but I needed to have one that with certain parameters to it. In fact, I wanted it to break up in a way that it wouldn't be them against us, that they would have their own different view and they could live within that philosophy and view and be okay, but they're not a part of everything else that's going on. It's not a United States. It's three republics with three different views of how the world should be. That's what it is.
It's kind of like,
so I thought I experiment with a lot of sayings in here. I hope people sometimes will actually
I love that. But is it like their systems and programs are crumbling and like new ones have to get them to put into place, or they're adjusting?
Yes,
or how would
absolutely.
you, is that kind of how you'd explain that? Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Like I don't come from the real conservative viewpoint. That's not my philosophy, but there's a huge amount of people that do. And so let's say they want this and they decide, I want to have a more of a theocracy here. I don't care if it's a dictatorship. I really don't care. Just so we get things done. Okay, so how's that country going to work? So they go off and they do their thing, and they're called blue. Then you got this people that are very pluralistic, and they want to do things and bring people in and invite the pluralism of the world into their world. Great, let them do that. How's that world going to work out? But during this time, I have another group that's very open to AI. And how will AI help us build a new world? That's the third group. But they also have their other political things that they have to maintain. And guess what? Alaska becomes the central region where they deal with all the things that are unified around the world.
Of course.
Around the world, they have to deal with universal military things, universal climate issues.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, they have to deal with some universal issues. So Alaska is given a special way of being in this book.
High frequencies, hey?
Yeah, they get to manage that because they're very independent anyway.
A quick question that popped up said, what do you think that the something external represents? Why don't you see how you would answer that?
How does something external represent?
Yeah, that's what the question just popped up with this picture.
It must have been because I was talking about an external idea of there's a whole concept called the external salvation process. It's not you before God. It's you accepting the external death of Christ on the cross as the only way you can communicate with the higher being. That's it. You don't get to do it. In other words, you're sinful, you're evil, you're blah, blah, blah. But someone else came in here, died for you, and now I can take your message to God for your soul. Oh, that's external. That's the traditional idea of many churches today. Well, it's too bad that that's the only view there is out there, because that's not the one that a lot of people espouse to. I don't. I would be more of a Gnostic, I guess. And I would believe in the part of the books that say, look within. And within you is in you. Now you're dealing with an internal source.
I love how you said that. Because, even when you look at different things in the Bible, like example, tithing, for example, like you always give, you receive what you give, you reap and you sow. But like for me, I can represent it as, you know, how he threw his net on the right side, as lifting my energy up and going to the right side of my brain, my creative side, where I get rid of my ego, my lower mind, right? And I'm giving up that 10% so I can be ignited with the bigger part of me, right? And so instead of seeing it as maybe that I had to give money, instead I could give up the parts of me that are holding me back so I can expand and multiply and be abundant by living from a higher frequency. You know, so there's different ways you can interpret it, right? So I love that you.
But you and I would probably agree.
Maybe
You and I would probably agree on that,
like a
on that
body.
process. But there's a whole section of the country that wouldn't, and that's why I have three republics. There's a whole section of the republics that stays in that other mindset, and that's okay. They can stay there. They shouldn't be forced to have to believe what I believe, you know. And so
Very, very true.
I think that if the country broke up in a healthy way, and this is what part of the second book would be about, can Darren come back, instead of having the whole country blow up like it does in my book, can he have it split up in a healthier fashion? Well, I don't know if he can or not. But anyway, that's what would be part of the second sequel to this book.
I like what you said, that because, you know, that's how it is. When you do look within, you see everything as like your body, right? Like coming from the inside out and learning how to relate things to you internally. But if you don't look inside, you can't see that point of view. So,
well, if you look at the text that you mentioned, Christ said, "Look within to find the truth."
He tells us right
in the
there.
in the book of Thomas, which isn't in the Bible.
I love that book.
The whole book is about looking within.
I know.
The book of the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of well, I don't think Enoch quite does it that way, but Thomas certainly does. And so a lot of those books, if you really believe that they were talking with Jesus, just like the other books may or may not have been talking with Jesus, but at least they were part of his philosophy. Some took it in one direction and some took it in another direction. It was Paul that created this one direction, and it was Thomas and some other people that went the other way. So
someone asked about what are we talking about high frequencies? I'm like, you're gonna have to read our books, and it explains everything in there. And that's the thing.
Let me mention
power, right?
Frequency,
we have that wisdom to share.
Frequency is new to me too. You don't see frequency listed in the Bible.
This is my whole theme.
So here's what just think about frequency in two dimensions, kind of. One is if you have a real low frequency in this universe that we're in, everything has a frequency. So if it's vibrating very low, it's usually it's on a more of an evil, anti-angry, hostile, warlike process. And if it elevates in frequency, it goes to caring, community, spiritual, heightened, enlightenment. And there have been all kinds of things happening in the history of our world that talks about how things have taken frequencies to elevate and frequencies that bring it down. In our country today, we have this huge divide. We have a huge divide between the frequencies that are going on.
It's the energy that we embody, though, right? Like fear is a lower frequency, right? And like a chair or something dense is heavier. Whereas if you're light and you're creative and you're open and you're in love and authenticity and you're in alignment, you're vibrating at a high frequency. Like I'm very high frequency because I did that internal work. I let go of weight in people and places and things that were holding me down or weighing me down or putting weight on me. And when you give it to God, he can take that from you and elevate you. And I know in my books, I talk about frequency everywhere. So if you want to learn about it,
it's not in my book. It's not even in AI and Search for Jesus. In fact, when I wrote the book, I didn't have a good understanding of frequency.
Oh, I bet you that's going to be one of your newer books coming out.
Well, I've had other books coming out. You're right about that. They do talk about that.
Okay, we'll do just a couple more, and then I want to hear all about your books. Okay, so we're going to go straight into Faith Beyond Flesh is the next picture here. Faith Beyond Flesh. What do you think about that? How does that relate to you?
Faith Beyond Flesh, did you say?
Yeah, Faith Beyond Flesh.
Flesh. Okay, so this isn't my picture, by the way. I wouldn't have done this picture.
Oh.
Because it's too bold of crosses.
Okay.
Because I would have had an internal heart beating or something.
Okay, no, that's fair. They're shaking you up. They were like, let's get creative.
Yeah. So when people are trying to interpret me with some pictures, they throw some pictures in there are not really true.
Yeah,
I was even
asked thinking to kind of look at it a different way.
I was even asked about this book, that why is my cross so light?
Uh-huh.
In fact, I had them lighten it.
Okay, yes, explain that to us.
Because I wanted that part of spirituality to not be the main theme.
Fair. I like that. Very good.
Christ is the main theme of this thing.
Right.
And how AIs can connect with that, just like to help with humans. It isn't about this thing on the cross here. That's not the main theme of this book. In fact, it's saying that a lot of people believe in that. And that's a challenging thing to believe, to be honest with you, because that's not what Christ ever was saying.
Would you say that the cross is like dying to self, dying to your flesh, dying to the old?
No, the cross is actually an external salvation process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And people believe it. That's what people want to believe. And that's okay. You can believe that. I just want you to know how much harder the road will be if you think everything has to come from outside.
Right. So you believe it's an internal then, more of like letting go.
At least do both. If you want to believe the external pieces to help you, guide you, which they can, then at least know that Christ was talking about within you. So
that's right. I love that.
I love that.
That's right. I agree. Because as soon as I went within, boom, I was free. Huge difference.
It can happen to you just like that too.
So anyway,
the thing that you were mentioning, it isn't really my picture, but I would rather not spend any time with that.
Okay, yeah, let's just skip that. Let's actually hold up your books that you have and tell us where we can find your books, where we can get them, and talk a little bit about the ones that are coming out or have come out or ones that you really want us to hit home.
Okay. Well, this book, there it is. I guess I'll do it this way. Is it spelled correctly on when you see it, or is it backwards?
Yeah, AI, that's fine.
No, I mean, it's not spelled backwards.
No, it's spelled good.
Okay, for me, it's backwards, so I'm just wondering.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so AI's in Search of Jesus. This is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere books are being sold. Reader's Magnet's the publisher. You can get them from Reader's Magnet.
Do you have a website?
Do
you have a website or email?
Yes, I have a website. It's called Transcendent Seekers, one word, transcendentseekers.com.
Okay, Transcendent Seekers.
And all my books are showing up there on the screen. And but the future books are not.
What's the latest book that's coming out that you might want to talk, or what do you want to talk about?
Let me just mention this one. This is Servant Leadership. This has gotten a big sales and things on Reader's Magnet in the last couple of months, even around the world, not just in the United States. So it's being seen all over. Servant Leadership is a very heartfelt kind of book.
A truth one, right?
But because I was teaching this also in Vietnam for 9 times that I was there, I was teaching a way of leading that was non-punitive. I didn't call it servant leadership. I didn't think they would understand that word. So I was teaching non-punitive leadership. And
I love how you have the word ethical.
Yeah. So with hospitals, I worked with 15 hospitals to help them build non-punitive cultures and stuff. That's where a lot of the servant leadership comes from. Plus, I was working with my brother-in-law, Tom Thibodeau, who does a lot of stuff in servant leadership. And he has a program in La Crosse, Wisconsin at Viterbo College, Viterbo University, where he has a master's program to get a servant leadership certificate. So Anyway, that was also in 2025. You know,
And they're based on truth, correct? Your
oh yeah,
books,
that's a real book. It can be a textbook, it can be a workbook, it can be a consulting
and your newer books are nonfiction as well coming out. You said
one nonfiction, one fiction. So
do you have like an example?
This is the nonfiction. Awakened in the Dark is about how you can go through this journey that both you and I have been talking about. How do you find this frequency? How do you find your purpose in life? And it gives you 3 really unique tools to help you work through your issues. I spend a lot of time with shadow work and help people with shadow work. And so this book helps people with shadow work. It helps them with the blocks that make them walk into a wall and they can't get around it. So it's this guy coming out of a cave and finally realizing that there's light out there and there's ways to do it. And I have 3 really unique tools to help them get out of that. It's also gotten a lot of, it's written also by Louis Batista and myself. Louis is a sage. He writes metaphorically, and we have these stories, how people can actually see someone developing into a new way of being in the book while they're trying to do this work on themselves externally. So they see someone doing it in the book while they're doing their own work externally from the book. So Louis helped me. He's my co-author in that book. And also it's been mentored and supported by Robert G. Allen, who's a #1 New York bestseller.
I love that because we all need guidance in the dark. I mean, I was dropped in the dark with no roadmap. And so I guess I got to promote my books too. So I wrote my 4 books.
That's right. I mean, that's how we do it. We have to find a way out of the dark.
And they're all nonfiction. They're all truth based on my own experiences. Activation codes for full authenticity and power.
Perfect.
Being unapologetically you and transmuting pain into light. And my books are also about how do you integrate your shadow? How do you learn how to live from your truth? And how do you elevate? And how do you change your energy? Because a lot of us don't know how to do that. And so, you know, I shared all my experiences and how I got to where I'm at in my books. And you did a lot of that as well, like as a map guiding us. So you can find my books on www.jillnypower.com. My email is jillnypower@gmail.com for personal coaching. I am selective with my clients. I am content creator. You can find a bunch of free materials and videos on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And look up Jill Nypower. I'm all over the internet. I've been on Global TV. I've been on podcasts, a lot of free resources there that can help you to kind of navigate certain areas of your life. So I love that me and Dennis can really set you guys up for, you know, to maybe write your own script and to become a better version of yourself and to do that inner work with support. Because a lot of us didn't have support, but if you have our books and that support, it can really get you there fast.
Absolutely. And you can reach us from the books.
Yes.
I have one more thing. I just want to say this one more book. This is one's coming out also. I don't know if I can get you to see it. It's called When 13 Triggers the Devil. Angelina's story about abuse and winning. It's a fiction story about how 13-year-olds have been cultivated and abused over thousands and thousands of years, either through culture, religions, or even abusive cults within our own country. And what's been going on recently with the abuse with Epstein and a whole bunch of other places that use them for blackmailing people. But it's like a trigger point. For some reason, a girl is in this goddess innocent point, and at the same time, they want to be taken and abused at the same time. So it's about how people are groomed, and it helps young people learn what grooming really is and how to stop it before it gets too far.
We need to know that. We need to be aware of that. You know, like I grew up without boundaries. I didn't know. I had to learn that on my own, but I lost a lot of years because of it. So I love
this book is for that. This book is for 13-year-olds.
Trigger is. That's so powerful.
It's coming out with Page and Pixel in about 30 days.
Make sure you guys get Dennis's books, and get on track and
And my
start changing
website.
your life.
Yeah.
And your website, yeah.
Transcendentseekers.com. All right.
And
Thank you.
here at Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. So it was a pleasure having you today, Dennis. Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else you'd like to say before we say goodbye to our audience?
Goodbye now. Be well.
Okay, goodbye. It was wonderful having you. I can't wait to connect.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye, Dennis.
Bye now.
Every story begins with a spark. In this magical book, word weavers of all stripes and colors come together, sharing their words like sparks, their journeys like stars, their voices like echoes of wonder. Stories that inspire, challenge, and connect us all. Authors reveal the roots of their journeys, the stories behind their
Does your
stories.
personal journey of self-discovery shape the narrative of the book?
Where conversations flow freely, rippling with ideas that
A
connect
very
and
timid,
inspire.
bashful, all the way into adult years. And then God gave me a revelation of what those words mean. And they're all rooted.
Unraveling the mysteries of narratives and discovering wonders
We
waiting
have
within.
Eloquently Barking Anecdotes, Thoughts, and Observation by Roland Jones. So this is an anthology of stories or anecdotes.
The Festival of Storytellers, Chapter 7, where narratives rise, ignite, and flow. Save the dates.